Good morning, everyone. Good afternoon, good evening. How are you all doing? My name is Amanda Ellis. A warm welcome to my channel. Today's date is the 5th of January 2026. We're going to be having a look at the events over the last weekend in particular, the USA intervention and capture of the leader of Venezuela. We will be looking at the longer term implications of that for the wider world, because yes, there are some. Also a look at some of the other countries that Donald Trump, through his own words, has said that he is interested in, I'd like to ask the cards what he's actually intending to do with regards to Greenland and Colombia. Actually, I went to bed last night and intuitively I had Colombia flashing red. And I thought, well, nothing's been said about Colombia. I think maybe I'm wrong there. And then, of course, I wake up this morning and indeed there has been words said by Trump overnight with regards to Colombia being potentially next target. We may also touch on Mexico if that comes up. Originally, I put Iran in the thumbnail to go with this video. I may or may not have taken that out, dependent upon what comes out in this video and how much we've got time to cover. I feel as though Iran is absolutely the end game with regards to where this potentially is going. But you know, there's a lot of staging posts before that. I feel as though he knows that by taking on Iran, that really has got huge implications. So not that the other countries don't have as well, but anyway, I'll see what I can get to in this video. I'm going to weave in a number of different voices. I'd like to remind you watching, particularly if you are new to my channel, that I do things a bit differently here. I am not pro one side or the other side. You might think that I am, but I'm not. My history of voting in my own country has been pretty evenly split between voting left, voting right. I've also voted for other parties such as the Greens, etc. I don't even know who I'd vote for in the next election. David Icke had actually something very interesting to say on this over the weekend, and he was talking about the fact that there is a deliberate policy of putting politicians into power that we're just not particularly thrilled by, let's put it that way. The choice that we have as voters isn't great across the whole world, certainly true here, and how it's linked into trying to erode the desire for us as individuals of particular countries to have our say, because we feel as though, well, it doesn't matter who gets into power, they're all just as bad. And then the end game is to put in a more one world type government that is not elected by anybody, it's autocratically decided. Now, whether or not Icke is right on that, I don't know, but I'm just going to bring his voice in because it's linked into what I'm saying. I truly don't have a horse in this race with regards to Trump or whoever would be the opposition to Trump if he was to run again. I know he's not technically allowed to, but I do have a horse in the race with regards to global stability, global unity, and also, you know, I'm sorry if it's being a bit of a party pooper, but a bit of a stickler for international law. And even if international law is flawed, which it is, there needs to be consensus with regards to how we change it, who changes it, and it shouldn't be one person or one country deciding to do that. So anyway, off my soapbox, we're going to just do our best in this video. It's not a particularly easy one to do, but I am coming from the right place and the right intentions coming on for you today. I want to try and support and help, also hopefully reduce some of the fear that is out there, without burying our head in the sand that these aren't difficult days. To remind you of your own power as light workers to be able to alter timelines, particularly if they are difficult timelines. So yeah, let's get to it. Let me just have a glug of coffee if you don't mind, because this is definitely a 2 cup of coffee video. Okay. I'm going to reference back 5 days. Some of you might have seen the video that I put out on 2026 year predictions, trends and energies. In that, I talked about the numerology of this year, which is a number 1 year, which is all to do with leadership, new beginnings, power, particularly because the number 1 numerologically is linked into a particular colour, and I explained that colour is yellow, links to the sun, colour yellow. All colours have both positive and challenging aspects to them. The positives of yellow is sunshine, laughter, childhood, innocence, joy, happiness. But the negatives of yellow, the things that we need to learn from yellow, are about our own ego, how we use our own power or abuse power, whether we are brave or courageous or cowards, what we do with knowledge. Knowledge is a yellow energy, whether we can take knowledge and embody the wisdom that it seeds. Another negative aspect of yellow would be greed. And I said that I felt that in a year, which is all about this number 1 energy, yellow energy, Donald Trump, whether you like him, whether you don't like him, was going to have a part to play with regards to helping us see these qualities in all their ugly glory, maybe, or maybe in all their beauty, dependent upon your standpoint. I also said in a members video that went out before Christmas, there was a part of the video where I accidentally put my hand into a candle flame. And straight away, Metatron said that 2026 was going to be a year where we were playing with fire. Individually, it could be that we literally are playing with fire with regards to how we behave, our relationships, our money, our health, whatever. But also on the world stage, there was something about playing with fire. But almost from a childlike perspective of a child who lights a flame, discards it, and doesn't understand that that flame can then reignite in a different place, a different time. Playing with fire. And I truly feel that these are times where the USA is playing with fire. I know that many Venezuelans appear to be very happy that the leader Nicolas Maduro, apologies if my pronunciation is not right, I'm an English lady with an English accent, and a lot of these names I might be saying today are maybe my first attempts at doing so. But it seems as though there's been a lot of hardship under this guy's regime. Some would say dictatorship. So some joy at yellow, some joy and celebration, yellow, at his demise. The bigger and more important question, though, is what comes afterwards. And if this is, by want of a different word, regime change, what type of regime comes in after it? Is it actually for the people? Does it benefit the people? Unfortunately, I'm of an age where I remember the Iraq War and other incidents and skirmishes and wars that we've had. And sometimes regime change doesn't always bring long-term benefit. So the jury's out on that. And I'll pull some cards for you, Venezuela, on how it's looking going forward. But I just want to finish off with regards to this yellow energy, as it were. I said one of the counter energies for yellow for 2026 is the energy of greed. So we all have to be looking at that in our own lives. You know, where are we greedy? But the language, the rhetoric coming out of USA right now not just from Trump, but also from, is it Marco Rubio? I think he's called. I can see him in my mind's eye. The language is, for example, on Greenland, I want Greenland. I need Greenland. We need Greenland. We want Greenland. I shall have Greenland, if you follow it through. If you really feel into the energy of that rhetoric, it is like the spoilt child, maybe also the bully, that is going to have its way no matter what. I did see, is it Marco Rubio? I think it is, speaking at some point over the weekend, and he was talking about the transfer of power in Venezuela that needs to be in the American interests. This is a sovereign country that he's talking about. Venezuela is a sovereign country, but it has to be in our interests. That should raise so many red flags. If we can just take off the blinkers and see our leaders' actions for what they are. Okay, so whether you are a lover of the current USA administration, whether you're not, there are big red flags in these actions and the consequences that follow. The to-do list that Metatron shows me of Trump's mindset at the moment of ticking off one country at a time that in his view is troublesome, or the leadership is troublesome, or they have something that he wants, that America needs. It's all about power. And interestingly, from a colour perspective, yellow is also linked into the energy of resource. What is one of the biggest resources that is needed right now on this planet? Oil. Colombia is one of the biggest holders, I believe, of crude oil. I think it's number one, actually, in terms of number of barrels that are held. So it is about oil. It is about resource in the same way that Iraq was about resource. Greenland is about resource. But it's being done a bit under a cloak and daggers energy of it being good because it's maybe taking the drug cartels out. Well, if it does, that is a good thing. But if you really feel into what it's really about, it's actually about resource, and it's about power, and it's about control. And it's a very old patriarchal energy that we've had on this planet for many years. And maybe Donald Trump's role in this is to serve it up as a dish for us all to look at and to say, and put it right into our face and say, do you still want it done this way? Now, some people will say, yeah, and I've seen reactions like that on social media over the weekend. People rubbing their hands in glee at the firepower of America. We're back, you know, all this type of rhetoric. But again, can we just put our spiritual hats on and align to our hearts and really feel into whether that feels good or whether it feels very old, very toxic, very jingoistic, very nationalistic. It is the opposing end of the spectrum to unity. Now, I've said we're a long way away from unity consciousness based on what we see right now in our world. But I don't know about you, I came here to at least try and nudge the dial forward and to remind us of the possibility of that happening. And I know many of you did also. Okay, the final thing on resource, I'll just say this here in case I forget to say it elsewhere. I've seen a bit of Trump actually physically speaking and, you know, rather than it just being reported what he said, seeing him speak. But there's a bit where he was talking about, I think the lights went out in Venezuela around the time of the capture of Nicolas Maduro. And he says something along the lines of, I think it's a bit of a slip, I don't think he realised that he'd let the cat out of the bag, that we know how to turn off the lights. We have, effectively, I suppose what he means is we have the technology to turn off the lights. Well, you're actually, in that instance, you're turning off the lights of millions of people, plunging people into darkness. But it did just make me wonder about this 3 days of darkness that we keep hearing spouted by the spiritual community. I've always felt that it's more of a metaphorical thing. And I still believe that's true, because even if the lights went out, remember, the greatest light never goes out. That's your own light that's within you. And in times of darkness, we have to find our own compass and our own alignment to what it is that we believe. But I did just wonder this, as I say, I don't think he probably meant to reveal that they know how to do this. But if they have the ability to be able to turn off the lights, as I'm sure they do, and probably they're not the only nation of major capital cities, is that linked into a 3 days of potential darkness that is to come? I don't even know if it's this year. As I say, I'm not going to go into fear on any of this stuff, and I'm encouraging you not to. But I am reminding you of past work that I've put out over the last couple of years, where I have encouraged you to stock up, or not panic, not going to panic buying of God knows how many toilet rolls. I'm talking about just getting in some staples. If you can afford it. I know times are tough. There's a cost of living crisis across pretty much the whole world. But if you can, put an extra can in your shop this week, tinned goods, things that are not going to go out of date quickly. And also, of course, bottled water. I do have some bottled water in my home, which I have to keep replacing because my daughters keep drinking it. But the point is, I'm not in fear. I just try to get a few extra things in on a weekly basis, or certainly monthly basis. And I think that's very wise right now for where we are heading in our world, which is basically into a time of uncertainty. Maybe a number 1 year was always going to start with an energy of uncertainty because, what Metatron's shown me is a race. We effectively have a new, you can use all the analogies you want. We have a new book to read. We have a new chapter. We have a new race to run. But think about a race. Before it starts, nobody knows who the winner's going to be. Nobody knows what unexpected events are going to happen during that race. Sometimes the race might even be cancelled because of bad weather, There is this energy of uncertainty and nerves. And right now, we're in a very nervous energy. You see, the other thing with the colour yellow is it links into fear because it's linked into the solar plexus. So we're being asked to look at these events that are happening in our world. And Trump is playing the role that he is meant to play right now to provoke these reactions, I think. But what do we do when we're faced with that? Do we go into full-scale panic and devouring every potential news story and every potential worst timeline that could possibly happen till we've blown ourselves all up into oblivion? Oh no, not on my watch. That's not what I'm doing. Or do we, as I say, tackle that fear, look it in the face and remember that you are powerful and that we have the power to turn this around and course correct? Yeah? Okay. The other thing I wanted to mention just on numerology is, and I've said this before years ago, Trump's numerology is actually the same numerology as the Venezuelan opposition leader, Maria Corina Machado. So I must say something about this. Donald Trump, born 14th of June 1946, same year as my mother actually, and I only say that because he's 79. So, he and my mum were born just after, or as the Second World War was ending, just after the Second World War was ending. And you would hope that generation, Metatron showed me a few things actually. He's saying I'm wrong. I was about to say you would hope that generation would come in wanting something different for our world, not a continuation of war. Which is true, but Metatron's showing me also that generation were conceived and in utero during time of war. So they cannot not have picked up the vibration of it, the frequency of it, the fear around it, the whole spectrum that war produces in anybody. God forbid we went into another world war. All the emotions that go with that. Including an energy of lack, Metatron is saying, because, of course, rations were, in the Second World War, there was not enough. So a baby, I'm not saying all 1946 babies are like this, by the way, I'm just using Trump as an example here. I feel as though there was something in utero with him where he absorbed all the frequency of war. He was destined to be a leader, but it's as though... And he's showing the total duality, you see, because a few months ago, he was all for being the peaceful president, wanting the Nobel Peace Prize. But then roll forward literally weeks later and the coin has flipped and we're now into a war president, basically. I mean, that is what it is. Let's just call it for what it is and not be frightened of that. Even if you like the guy, even if you support him. The bombing of Nigeria, a target in Nigeria on Christmas Day, I think that set a very dangerous precedent again, because Christmas Day, even in World War II, the guns fell silent. Probably not everywhere, but, you know, there's famous stories of the guns falling silent on Christmas Day. And then they started up again, okay, the next day, but they fell silent on Christmas Day out of just, I don't know, basic humanity, respect for a holy day. But this was starting something up on Christmas Day. I thought that didn't really bode very well for this year. But anyway, so, yeah, it's just something about that 1946 energy with him. He's holding the duality of war within him. On one hand, he wants peace, but on the other hand, power is something. I'm hearing power crazy. I'm sorry, but I am. I'm hearing drunk on power crazy. He doesn't quite know whether he wants to go out fighting or whether he wants to go out as, you know, the living embodiment of bringing peace to the whole world. You might think he is still bringing peace to the whole world by his actions in Venezuela, Greenland, potentially Colombia, maybe Mexico, Canada also flashing dimly a little bit as well. But we'll see. Anyway, this thing is 14th of June, 1946. Bear with me. This is really interesting stuff. He comes out as a 31-4 numerological energy. 31 is actually the energy of the hermit, funnily enough, but it's also about the energy of boundaries. Boundaries. You either are really good with boundaries or you haven't got any. I would say he hasn't got any boundaries. I really think if you look back over the guy's life, in many areas of his life, sexually, romantically, but also now we're seeing it across land borders. There's a thing about boundaries that he just has not got to grips with. Maybe he never will. Maybe this is part of his teaching to show us this. Number 4 is Uranus, the planet Uranus, which is expect the unexpected. Anything could happen. But what's really interesting, as I say, is the Venezuelan opposition leader, Maria Corina Machado, who won the Nobel Peace Prize instead of Trump this year. She is also a 31-4. Now, she's younger than him. She's born 1967, Summer of Love, 7th of October, 1967. So she's a Libran, actually, so she's a bit more balanced. I know nothing about her other than she's been fighting for democracy in her country for a long time. And also, she's a clever lass. She is an industrial engineer with a master's degree in finance. And so whether she's actually somebody who is good on boundaries and he's almost the polar opposite or what, I don't know. I don't know enough about her. But it's just interesting that there's a mirror there. And actually, what I've written down here is that I feel that he's met her match with her. Now, Trump has already said, I don't want her in power. She hasn't got the support of the people. She's not the right fit. She's been quite quiet after he said that. but don't mistake quietness for not having an opinion and not being able to come back from that. I feel as though she's biding her time. At the moment, Trump has, he said he's sort of wishing to run the country, I believe, a sovereign nation, yeah. But the other lady that's in power, who I think was the vice president or something, I haven't got her name to hand here, so I don't have everything to hand. It's a fast-moving story, this. But whoever that lady is, she's no fool either. I feel as though Trump felt as though he was going to be able to control her, and she's already come out fighting, saying, no, mate, you're not going to be able to control me either. So it's interesting. Lots of readers over the years, and maybe myself also, have seen a woman being very pivotal, potentially in his downfall, or certainly linked somehow to his whole tenure. I've always assumed it was just Melania showing in the readings, but I'm just wondering, these women of Venezuela, you know, they're fiery. They're fiery, you know, they're not going to just take what a patriarchal energy is telling them to do. Be a good girl and sit over there and do what the USA tells you to do, and we're good. Oh no. So I think he might have met his match. I think just out of respect to this lady that I'm talking about, I need to get her name. So let's just see what she's called. Is it Rodriguez or something? Venezuelan new president. Rodriguez. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, you see, because it's saying here, Donald Trump warns Venezuela's new leader, Delcy Rodriguez. Sorry about my pronunciation, guys. She could pay a very big price if she doesn't do what's right. Who is he to tell her what's right? It's unbelievable, guys. Anyway, but it's the yellow energy. It's I will. It's not thy will. Thy will would be golden energy. Allow God to speak through us, yeah? What is good for the people? What is good for the world? What is good for all of us? It's not my will. Trump's speaking very much with his will. It's an ego. But yeah, he's definitely met his match with those two ladies. We'll see which one wins out, but I can't help but give a wry smile to that, really. US is saying that they will run Venezuela until a safe transition. Again, who defines what a safe transition is? Who defines what is acceptable in American eyes? It's really quite something, guys. And I think where it weakens the world is that going into a country, and I'm not standing up for the previous leader, Nicolas Maduro. By all accounts, he sounds as though he was a complete shit. Sorry to use that language, but it does. But it sets a precedent for other countries to do the same. You can't, on one hand, be trying to foster peace between, for example, Ukraine and Russia, and on the other hand, just be going across borders and taking leaders out. It just doesn't work like that. So there's a danger that China, Russia in particular, are going to see this as a green flag to go and do what they want more. Because it's dangerous territory we're in. That's what Metatron meant by we're playing with fire. We're playing with fire. He's playing with fire. There was something that Bernie Sanders said. Now, again, don't come at me, you know, I'm not either for Bernie or against Bernie. In fact, there's a lot of stuff that Bernie's done that's really naffed me off over the years. But we won't go there. But being in unity consciousness is being able to see and acknowledge the bits of somebody where you think, yeah, I'm with you on that one, and saying, sorry, Bernie, I'm not with you on that one. But you know what? Still come and sit beside me. You know, let's try and make the most of it. I thought Bernie Sanders' words were very good. Where were they? Let me just see, because I did screenshot it. Okay. Because I think to get back into alignment and balance, we need to, and to be getting into wisdom, we need the round table. We need the voices of all parties, not just one man who says this is the way it's going to happen and I'm going to wag my finger at you until I get what I want. It has to be I don't think Congress even approved the taking of Maduro, did they? So it's like, it needs to be a round table, cross-party, it goes beyond parties, this. Anyway, let's see if I can read this with my contact lenses in. Donald Trump has once again, this is Bernie Sanders' words, Donald Trump has once again shown his contempt for the Constitution and the rule of law. The President of the United States does not have the right to unilaterally take this country to war, even against a corrupt and brutal dictator like Maduro. The United States does not have the right, as Trump stated this morning, to run Venezuela. Congress must immediately pass a war powers resolution to end this illegal military operation and reassert its constitutional responsibilities. Trump's attack on Venezuela will make the United States and the world less safe. This brazen violation of international law gives a green light to seize their resources gives a green light, to any nation on earth that may wish to attack another country to seize their resources or change their governments. This is the horrific logic of force that Putin used to justify his brutal attack on Ukraine. He goes on, but that's particularly the bit that I thought was relevant. And I really agree with that. It gives the green light to other countries who don't like the regime or the way that it's being led to go in and change it. And, we've seen where that leads. My country also has done this in the past. I'm not singling out America. The fiasco of Iraq, just one of the latest or most recent things to have learned from. But we're not learning the lesson. And in this year of number one, how do we wish to be led? I would hope that we're going to see a counter movement towards the true peacemakers, the true diplomats, to stand up and be counted, because it's now that it's needed. Now is not a time for being silent. Now is a time to have an opinion. Even if your opinion is different from mine, that's fine. But the ones that are saying nothing, I just don't understand it. It's almost making me feel as though I can start to understand how previous wars have happened. There's a reaction of just not wanting to, get involved, or I read something, I think it was on X actually yesterday, somebody said, it was linked into Canada actually, and of course, I thought it was a bit of a joke really when Trump came in and was talking about the 51st state, and I didn't take it particularly seriously. And I said, don't worry, it's never going to happen, because it won't ever happen, because Canadians wouldn't ever let it happen. But let's hope there's no bloodshed, to make that a reality. But someone said, what would happen if he just went in with boots on the ground into Canada? Would the world even care? I hope we would. I hope we would. Where is the line? Where is the line drawn in terms of this is not right? You can't just go in and capture other leaders, even if they're foul leaders, even if the people are relieved that leader is gone. Is it legally correct? Because without legal balance, we're stuffed, guys. We are stuffed. I'm in the UK, and our Prime Minister Keir Starmer, of course, has a long legal background. And one of the interesting things that's happening here, I'll just tell you, because I know I have people watching me from all over the world, and I would encourage you, by the way, to be watching news reports outside of your own countries, wherever you are, just to get different perspectives. But anyway, from the UK perspective, I think many people were expecting Keir Starmer, with his legal brain, to straight away stand up to Trump and say, hold on a minute, what about international law? What the hell is going on? And of course, he hasn't done that. He hasn't done that. He's just being a stooge, it's just, anyway. But the point is that some of the people, the members of his own party, are now challenging Starmer and saying, why have you not challenged Trump on this? So it would be quite an interesting turn of events if it was that thing that brings Starmer down, the fact that he can't stand up to Trump. I did read that the Spanish PM has said something in terms of standing up to Trump. I don't know of any others. Maybe there are, but I don't know. So let's do some cards, guys. See what wants to come through. See what wants to come through. I think that's what I've got written on my notes. Yeah. Okay, I'm going to go with this deck, which is always the deck I use for sort of political type reads. Japanese Tarot. I don't really know where to bloody start. Let's start with some coffee. Can I also say that whatever comes out of these cards, this is not me just trying to get off the hook if I say something it doesn't come true, because I'm not Gypsy Rose Lee, I'm not a fortune teller. That's not what I'm about. You know, I can help with energies and help you navigate energies, and sometimes I'll get a hit with regards to future things that can happen, but you know, I'm not a fortune teller. I'm not into that whole game. But truly, my friends, right now, anything could potentially happen. Our job is to, as I say, to hold the line and to hold the light, because this is so fast moving. By the time I've uploaded this, something else probably might have happened that would have changed the questions that I would even have asked these cards. So let's have a look. I think I'll just start with Donald Trump's energy, actually. Let's just have a look at Trump's energy. That's a bit of a open-ended question, isn't it? Let's have a look at his motivation for going into Venezuela, for example. We've got the energy. Look at that. It's interesting. I use this deck because it's the only deck that's actually got a depiction of war, and it's come up on. We've also got the Nine of Wands there. No, sorry, Nine of Winds. I'll do that in a minute. It's the only deck that has the Emperor card is the energy of war. And we've got it with the energy of balance. They almost feel conflicting energies, don't they? Remember, I asked this in terms of Trump's motivation, so from his perspective. He feels as though he's bringing balance, whether that's a balance linked into the balance sheet I'm being shown, linked into resources and money. Somehow this is all linked into the value of the dollar as well. I'm not an economist, so I can't really comment further on that. Balancing the books. War is a great way of balancing the books. War is a great way of bringing in trade and income to the country. The oil companies in USA, whoever they are, I'm seeing them like rubbing their hands in glee with regards to potential new fields to exploit. I actually want to read you what it says about this war card, because I know it's the Emperor. Let's just do that, if I may, because it feels pivotal. So Trump as the Emperor is coming out with war. What does that mean? It says, here is the first and only significant departure of the Japanese tarot from the traditional naming convention of the constituents of the major arcana. Customly titled the Emperor, this card embodies, can you see it? This card embodies the archetypal father possessing a worldly masculine energy of a less creative but more disciplined nature than that of the magician. His power is often seen as the stabilizing energy that counterbalances the feminine energy of the Empress and represents authority, social order, and control. There are both positive and negative aspects to authority and control. The artist has chosen to portray a less harmonic facet of patriarchal power, the darker side of social order, wherein emperors send other men off to war. That last line is powerful and so sad. So sad. Let me just reread that. That the artist has chosen to portray a less harmonic facet of patriarchal power, the darker side of social order, wherein emperors send other men off to war. I'd like a clarification card on temperance, although we did also have... I'll just put it back in the deck. Oh, the Nine of Winds. Let me just cover her up. Otherwise, believe it or not, this card will get me flagged on YouTube because it shows a female body. Naked. Shock horror. But the Nine of Winds is the Nine of Swords. It just shows this woman, and she is... she's got wings, and she's looking a bit lost. And actually, she's covering her private parts. That feels as though it is important. Oh, yes, I hadn't mentioned it. Oh, yes, I hadn't mentioned it. Because it goes with the Six of Winds. There's a female energy here covering her private parts, where she's most vulnerable. It seems important to say on this card that the woman is small-breasted, inferring maybe she's younger. I don't mean a child, but a younger woman, not a mature woman. A younger lady, or young, young. I don't think it's... This is the Epstein stuff. The nine of Winds, the Nine of Swords is fear, worry, nightmares. What is the fear and the worry and the nightmare about? About women. I'm sorry, it's women who've been abused. This is a woman who's covering her private parts. And the Six of Winds, the Six of Swords is wanting to move away from that, worried about that, wanting to move away from that. What's the biggest distraction that we can have? War. If you're a Trump admirer, you're welcome here on my channel. I'm not bashing you for having supported him, for still supporting him, but you have to acknowledge that he is a man with a checkered history with regards to women. He would be the first to admit that. He has admitted that. It doesn't have to necessarily be, I'm not being shown here what it is, why she's covering up her private parts. But the female is vulnerable there. And even if it's just having, bedded them and walked away, discarded them like rubbish. But it's all in the files. And it's no coincidence that all of this that's happening, Greenland, Colombia, Venezuela, the to-do list of places to quickly rush to and show our dominance and power, it's because of the Epstein list. Well, not just because of that. It's also to do with oil and resource and power and everything I've said. But the fear is of that. Okay, let's put these cards back into the deck. Or shall I leave them out? Maybe I'll leave them out. The Temperance card. You see, Temperance is usually a good card. So I'm just going to ask for clarification on the Temperance card with regards to why we've got it with him. Oh, okay, I'm being shown what it is. It's not balanced. It's not balanced. It's not balanced. It's not rational. It's not... Okay, Metatron's saying, let's all think of it this way. Let's just take a breath. Imagine the leader that you would truly like to see leading your country, who is the peaceful warrior, who respects their neighbours, even if they don't like what their neighbours are doing, who looks after their own nation. That's what he was elected on, America First. Let's just try and take it up to a fifth dimensional leader. It's hard for us to even go there because we haven't got many examples of them, if at all. But then let's just say the next generation of leaders. Metatron's saying the easiest way to imagine them is just to envisage their heart. And their heart isn't like stone. Their heart is so beautifully open and generous. You see, the opposite energy of greed is generosity. They're generous. generous in spirit, generous in deed, generous in actions. Humble would also be part of this new leader's energy, the energy of humbleness, generosity, loving. You know, it's just in every part of who they are. It is who they are. It's what defines them. And we haven't yet got that. We haven't yet got that. So, and this person is balanced. This person would be balanced. This person isn't balanced. This is not balanced. You see, when I first saw that card, apologies, it's my daughter texting me if you can hear the sound going off. When I first saw that card, what I heard was, how high can we go? It's like the child who doesn't sense the danger. It's back to what Metatron said before Christmas. You're playing with fire. Don't put your finger into the fire. Don't ignite the spark there. You don't know what you're playing with. You don't know what you're playing with. You don't know what you're invoking. How high can we go? Higher, 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 until you fall off you fall off the swing. Right. Just being reminded by something else I was given. We're in the year of the fire horse from February the 18th, and it feels as though it's going to be a long haul till we get there, actually, energetically, because we're still in the year of the wood snake. So we're still in this year. We're still in the wood snake year right now until February the 18th, which is about transmutation, ripping off the band-aids, basically, you know, and it can be painful, it can be disruptive, it's about letting go. I've spoken about this many times on my channel, but the thing with the fire horse, with Trump, I saw an energy of him, was a few things I saw. Number one, I saw him riding off into the sunset, a bit like an old cowboy film, you know? Obviously, this is an analogy, riding off into the sunset. And it reminded me of something I said years ago, maybe even before he was first elected in his first term. Or maybe I was reading because he was in his first term. But I remember seeing this vision of him just jetting off into the sunset. Not riding off into the sunset, jetting off into the sunset. And it felt as though he was off to somewhere like Saudi Arabia or certainly like Middle East, as though when the heat got too much, he just leaves. And so I was shown this again, but in a different format, like riding off into the sunset like an old cowboy, but the whole town behind him is burning. Yeah, job done. But the other thing I felt was like falling off the saddle. This is a year where he falls off the saddle. It's as though there's a point where he's bitten off more than he can chew, basically. And it's coming really soon. It doesn't mean it necessarily derails him this year completely, but there's a very bruised landing. There's a very bruised landing. Okay, so there has to be a humbling of ego. There's something, I don't know what this is, there's something whereby he's humbled. It could be the type of situation where, it's a bit like what's happened to Putin, really. I think Putin went into Ukraine, and I think he thought it would all be over quite quickly. And, you know, he's met quite a formidable foe in Zelensky. Okay, helped by many allies. We won't go there in terms of what we think about what's going on over there. But, you know, you'll never see it, but there's a part of Putin who's probably full of rage that it's still going on and he hasn't won. But there's also, you know, the higher timeline is actually a bit humbled. I didn't quite realise it was going to be as difficult as this. Would I have done it? That type of thing. But yeah, that's the fire horse energy with Trump. I'm really seeing with him like those old cowboy films from the I don't know when they were even made, 1950s, was it? There was a particular type of film, like I'm hearing spaghetti western. Is that right? Spaghetti western. And he thinks he's sort of in that type of movie. He's playing the role. Anyway, right, what do I ask next, guys? I want to have a look at this lady, the Venezuelan opposition leader, Maria Corina Machado. Let's just have a look at her energy in relation to what's happened with regards to the leader being captured. So I think initially her ex-posts were, you know, quite full of even congratulations for Trump in terms of, yeah, thank God you've got rid of him, thank you. But she has gone quiet, and obviously he's now said, well, you're not fit to lead anyway. And that's pride and ego that's saying that. It's because she won the prize, the Nobel Prize over him. But anyway, let's just see how she's doing, what she's feeling, what her actions are, what her energy is right now. Maria Corina Machado. Right, there's a card that flipped there and then went back in on itself. Oh, right. It was the Empress card, okay. It's quite interesting because we've got the card of balance again on the bottom of the deck. I didn't put the other 3 cards back into the deck. War, 6 of Wands, 9 of Wands, but I put Temperance back. I didn't actually realise I'd only put 1 card back. I thought I'd left them all out. There's something about, you know, I said they're almost like they're the same numerology, 31-4. I don't want to paint it as like Trump's the baddie and she's the goodie, because that's so junior school or infant school mentality. And it's not what I'm saying, because everyone's far more evolved and complex than that, you know, and it's not where I'm going with this video. But there's something whereby she's showing a different reflection of the 31-4 energy, because whereas he's coming across as a bit unhinged, to be perfectly honest, right now, she is biding her time on the swing. She's letting the swing just go with the wind, you know. She's seeing how this plays out. She knows she's the Empress. Empresses know they're the Empress. They don't need to prove anything. They're not in full ego. They know that the true power lies with them, which is the energy of fertility and growth and planting new seeds for the future and allowing them to bloom. She's biding her time on that swing, you know. Okay, let's see what else comes with that. On the bottom of the deck, we've got the Jester of Winds. Now, what is that? Just want to make sure, what is the... Jester is the Page. Okay, so it's the most junior. It would be the Page of Swords. Page of Swords. Yeah, backing up what I've just said. The Page of Swords tends to observe from afar, but also, because look, he's got binoculars. She's got binoculars. She's got her people in places to report back to her exactly what's going on. She's in touch with the mood of the people. She knows the moment to strike in terms of reappearing or challenging for the top job if she's allowed to. I think there's problems with that, but she's biding her time. She's got the binoculars out. She's far from game over with her. There's also something linked into, let me just see, truth. Just looking at this card that's next to this card on the bottom of the deck. This is the Seven of Tides. Seven of Tides would be Seven of Cups. Is that right? Yeah, Seven of Tides is Seven of Cups. And this is a whole load of snakes and jewels and pearls and rubies and gold. And buildings that look a bit ashen and smoked in the background. She knows where the bodies lie, is what I'm hearing. She knows why this is being done. She knows who the snakes are. Very clever lady. I mean, what is she, an engineer, mathematician? Very clever lady. You know that scene in Jumanji? I think there's a scene in Jumanji where they're trying to get the next clue or some type of prize. And there's this scene where there are all these snakes around it. And whoever has the power to, you know, get past them is able to get the prize or get the next clue. That's sort of where she's at. She's not one of the snakes. I don't feel that she's one of the snakes. And the jewel feels as though it is the heart of Venezuela. That the snakes are circling around, that are wanting, that are doing deals over. And she's like, no, 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 I'm the Empress. I'm the Empress. I'm actually hearing I'm the true mother. It's like I'm the true mother energy of that nation. Oh, yeah. Oh, wow. The 7 of Tides is next to the 7 of Winds. Oh, and the 8 of Winds. And the High Priestess. Wow, these are powerful cards. Let me show you. I hope my camera's picking them up all right. So 7 of Tides is what I've just said to you. The snakes, the jewels in the centre, the prize. Next to it is the 7 of Winds, which is lies, treachery, manipulation, skullduggery, smoke and mirrors. You know, she knows it's a complete cesspit right now to even try to create something for the long term. And this thief is stealing something from the land. This would be, I'm sorry, this would be USA stealing the resource. It's all about the oil. She's in a prison cell, 8 of Winds. Hopefully not literally, but this shows a woman alone in a prison cell. Her hands are tied. She's looking downcast, but I'm hearing down but not out. But next to it is the High Priestess. Two of the most powerful, she's got 2 of the most powerful cards in the deck. The High Priestess and the Empress. If I was a Venezuelan, I would be damn proud that she is still on the radar, as it were, you know? She would give me hope. Sorry, the Chariot card has just jumped out. And we've got the Queen of Tides, which is the Queen of Cups. And I've also got the Devil card there is also, the Devil's chasing her. When's her birthday? Oh, she's a Libran, okay. She's a queen. Queen energy. Right, let's just pull a few cards for... I'm just going to say what happens next for Venezuela. What happens next? That card's wanted to come out. We've got the High Priestess has come out. We've also got the energy of the Drowned. The Drowned in this deck is the, what's it called? The Hanged Man. So this, oh, and the Hermit beside it. And then we've got Strength. There's going to be a period of quite intense reflection. The Hermit. After the potential celebrations have died down in the country that, you know, he's gone. Well, what does that mean for us now? What does it look like with the US, in Trump's word, running the country for a while, or certainly giving conditions with regards to what will be approved and allowed to run the country? What does that look like? Some reflection and introspection. Maybe also a period of rest needed. But you've got the Strength card as well. The Strength card. And again, it comes down with a female energy. In this deck, it depicts the lion coming down with a female energy. Very, very strong female energy in Venezuela. And I just feel as though, I just keep feeling he's met his match. So be careful where you light fires. You don't know where embers spread. All right, let's very quickly have a look at a few other places. How are we doing for time? 59 minutes. Going to pull a couple of cards with regards to Colombia, actually. Shall I use the same deck? No, I'm going to use a different deck. I'm just going to go to an after tarot deck, which is my standard deck that I tend to use for all sorts of things. So let's just have a look. Trump's intentions with regards to Colombia. I mean, he's already stated them really, but now let's put it a different way. Does Colombia have anything to worry about with regards to Trump? Well, they do really, don't they? Because he's already said it. What is there to say? Okay, well, right. How many cards? Oh, 2 cards have fallen out. The Page of Swords and the Knight of Pentacles have fallen out. The Page of Swords literally flipped out. So that's come out twice. Page of Swords. The young men of Colombia, or the youth of Colombia. This feels very defensive. I know usually the Page of Swords is linked into the energy of truth and all of that. And that's true as well. But here I'm just feeling that is a young man picking up his sword. Knight of Pentacles. Not sure. Let me just pull a few more cards. Colombia, what is there to say, please, Metatron, with regards to all of this discussion that we've been having today? Colombia. Wheel of Fortune. 5 of Swords. One more. The Empress again. Split the deck. 9 of Swords again. Again, strong Empress energy, strong feminine energy. It's more just showing me the energy of the people there. Strong feminine energy. And there's something which is stirring the youth. Maybe this stirs the youth to stand up for what it is to be Colombian, to be proud of who they are. We've got 2 knights. And we've got the Wheel of Fortune. Is there a potential attack coming in on Colombia by the USA? Is there an attack coming in for Colombia by the USA? 4 of Cups just came out. This deck doesn't seem to be spitting. Oh, Knight of Swords again. It's just showing a lot of young men, young people. Look at them. 2 of them have got swords. Knight of Swords and Page of Swords. And Knight of Pentacles. We've also got this 5 of Swords. 3 swords. Swords of Thoughts. So he's thinking about doing it. I'm just really picking up the spirit of the young men in Colombia. Willing to defend to the death their nation. So again, careful what you stumble into. I will pull 1 card for Colombia with this original deck. So I felt it was speaking a bit more than the other one. Colombia. Trump's intentions, Colombia. Ace of Tides, Chariot, 2 of Winds, the Empress. He's a bit up and down with regards to what to do about it. 2 of Winds, 2 of Swords is like a choice point. Do I go for it? Before that, we've got the Ace of Cups and the Chariot. Very emotional. Trump's very emotional, wants to go for it. Wants to drive it forward, wants to tick it off the to-do list, but there's something coming in which is like the crossroads moment, but should I? And then what faces him again is the Empress. Can't get away from this Empress energy. It's coming up all the time. I'm on record of saying in previous years that it's the women of the world that will change the world. And by that, I don't mean that in a derogatory sense to men, because I'm also talking about the divine feminine energy that exists within men. But there's something about that Empress energy. The Empress will not be denied, is what I'm hearing. This is new earth energy. This is the golden age. This is, we're not having one man set back the progress of what is going to be arriving, whether you like it or not. So you can play your battles, you can tick things off your to-do list, you can go and make a hell of a lot of trouble out there, but the Empress is still arriving. Ready or not, here she comes. Ready or not, here she comes. Who did that song? I just have to look up the lyrics of that. Ready or not, lyrics. Fugees, ready or not, Fugees. What are the lyrics then? Give me the lyrics. So remember, this is in relation to the Empress. Ready or not, here I come, you can't hide. Gonna find you and take it slowly. Ready or not, here I come, you can't hide. Okay, I think that's basically the... There is a last line, though, in the song that's quite interesting. The last line is... A born-again hooligan, only to be king again. Behaving in like a hooligan way. An emperor or king that is out of control. It's the whole imperial energy. The Empress isn't having it anymore. Not in New Earth. Split the deck. We've got the Queen of Tides. I'm not going to read on Iran. I haven't got the energy today. If it all kicks off there, I'll come back in the next few days. But I've got a lot of stuff that I need to be getting on with myself this first bit of January. I haven't pulled any cards for Greenland. I will do that. But obviously we've also got Mexico and Canada flashing, not as red as Greenland and Colombia, but it can all change. Let's just see. I'll pull a few cards for Greenland. I wanted to pull an animal oracle card. Sounds a bit random, but I feel so the animals want to come in and support the respective countries. So let's pull a card for Venezuela. Which animal totem would like to step forward for Venezuela? I also feel the energy of Kuan Yin, the goddess of compassion and mercy, hovering over all of this situation, invoking her to bring in the energy of peace. Venezuela, which animal? I know I'm sitting here with my jaguars, but I really felt I needed to wear this shirt today, by the way, so I don't know whether that's linked into a particular country or not, but it was not random. I did choose this shirt for this video. I didn't even know why I was doing it. Right, which animal for Venezuela? The gorilla, my favourite animal. I love the gorilla. Oh, look what he says. Oh my God, I'm not gonna tear up, but I could tear up because it's just so beautiful. I love gorillas so much. And they're so threatened. But anyway, this gorilla, the card is number 1. And it says peace. Jeez. We've got leaders, and let's not just personalise it to Trump. Let's just say we've got leaders in our world who could learn so much from the animal kingdom. We all could too. This gorilla is look at him. Can you see that card? I hope you can see the card. He's looking at the new age. God, I hope he makes it to the new age with us. Hope we don't make them extinct. He's looking at the golden age. He's put down his armour. He's put down his armour. He's put down his spear. And the point about him, he's a silverback. He's the biggest and strongest gorilla going. And he knows that he doesn't have to wield his strength and dominate in that old way. He's just sitting in his power. just want to see, Venezuela. Are there any gorillas there? Hold on a minute, guys. I'm just interested. Venezuela. Gorillas. Maybe not. Oh. It's coming up with gorilla football clubs and stuff. Anyway, that's not relevant. Anyway. Let's just see what the book says. Because the book's got a line for each animal that feels important. Where is it? It'll probably tell us where they're endangered as well. They're found in the highlands of Rwanda, Uganda and the Republic of Congo. They are listed as endangered, which has decreased from being listed as critically endangered prior to 2018. Right, I need to read you this. It's only a little bit. Please listen to this. It's about power, and this is the power we need. Nigi is one of the 4 sons of Zamba, the creator god of the Yowandi people of Cameroon in Africa. All of nature, including the sky and stars, was made by Zamba. All things except human beings. He decided to give that job of creation to his 4 sons, with the instruction that they make man into their own image. His 4 sons were Kokon, the mantis, who was wise, Wu, the Japanese, why did I say the Japanese? Wu, the chimpanzee, who was curious, Otukut, the lizard, who played the fool, and of course, Nigi, the gorilla, who was strong. It is said that Nigi was in the thick forest with his family of wives and children, and a man decided that he wanted to see Nigi for himself, as he thought he and his people may be stronger. So he followed this gorilla to watch him. He watched him rule over his realm in nature with fairness and peace. He watched him share food. He watched him settle arguments and watched him gently play with the young ones. The man watched, but he didn't see the gorilla display any great strength. One day the man came into the clearing and threatened the gorilla. The gorilla did not react to the man's threats, other than to ask him to go back to his own place, if this was how he wished to act. Finally, Nigi stood up to leave, and as he did, he picked up a huge stone boulder. He did not even face the man. He simply picked up the boulder and then set it down. He then returned to the forest. The man realized he has just witnessed true strength, the kind that has, at its heart, restraint. Oh gosh, I find that very moving, because it's the opposite energy of what we're seeing right now in our world. You know, at the end of the day, USA is a big power. It has got a lot of strength. It doesn't need to flex its muscles in the way it does. It is wanting to do. That is so beautiful. The man realised that he had just witnessed true strength, the kind that has at its heart restraint. Restraint. Not acting on lower impulses of old paradigms. Trump is showing us that so that we can choose a higher timeline. For that, we have to thank him. Oh, I found that really moving. I don't want this video to go on much longer because people won't watch it if it's too long. I will just pull one card for Greenland. And we're going to go to the Urban Crow Oracle. I don't even know if this is going to work, but is this the right deck? Don't know if it is. Let's just see what we get. Greenland. I think I'm going to have to come back and look at Greenland. We've got ghosts, isolation, observation. So this is more the energy of the kingdom there, basically. It's isolated, ghosted, being observed by many, wanting its own freedom to govern itself in the way that it sees fit. But there's, yeah, this is building around it. Cards speak for themselves. Wrath, upheaval, resistance. Top of the deck, survival. This is what this is all about. It's very base chakra what's happening in the world at the moment. It's the first chakra that's being exposed. I need, because I have to survive, be the most powerful, stay number one. If we can move beyond this and shift beyond this scarcity consciousness, poverty consciousness, patriarchal consciousness, we have the energy of freedom possible for all of us. And this bird that represents it is carrying a rose. It's carrying 2 roses, not just for itself, but for another. Let's just end with a little prayer. Connecting into our guides again, connecting into our hearts. We ask that our world learn from the lessons of the past, not repeat the mistakes, that we as individuals do our part to try to remain in peace and love as much as we can, even when faced with challenging events, scenarios, and situations. That we remember to listen to each other, that we remember a higher timeline is always possible, that we remember that true power is built as shown by the silverback gorilla, that has the strength but knows restraint and knows that true power comes from shared collective consciousness and love. Thank you, everybody. Take great care. I'll see you all soon. Bye-bye for now. Please give my video a like if you have found it helpful. That would be appreciated. Bye-bye for now. Bye.